All right. Shalom, everybody. This is Jerron127 coming back to you live. I'm just gonna make a quick video, quick post, talking very briefly about this so-called zombie drug that's out on the streets. And over the last decade or so, we have been somewhat acquainted with so-called zombie drugs, running rampant across America, probably across the world. Um, with stuff like bath salts or what have you. But right here in this article, as you all can see, this is talking about Flocka, um, with the name Zombie Drug. And I'm just gonna quickly read up on this zombie drug and kind of what some of the things it has going on with it. So right here in the first paragraph, it does talk about, and mind you, this article is old. This is from 2019, but it does state that Flocka, also known as gravel and zombie drug, is a new generation of bath salts. Obviously, from roughly about 6, 7, 8 years later, like in 2012, when there was like a bath salt attack in Florida or something like that, where the man was eating a guy's face off. So this is kind of along that same lineage of drug, but I guess a newer, possibly even more potent variety. And it goes on to state that um, the natural form of catenones come from a plant called cat and is used as a stimulant in Africa and the Middle East. And it is a synthetic cathinone which produces a catatonic like state in some people. This drug affects people in ways no other drug ever has. People who use it have gone on mad, violent, zombie like rampages. I'm going to quickly read off a few facts on this. And it does state that substances like Flacos most often manufactured in Pakistan and China. And it says because this drug is so popular with the younger generation, Flocka manufacturing labs have opened in the States. And it states that gelatin and sugar may be added to make it look and taste like candy. Here is a long list of side effects, of which I'm just going to read a couple. Um, you have immediate effects of euphoria, feelings of invulnerability, extreme stimulation, and loss of inhibition, increased heart rate or irregular heart rate, increased blood pressure, increased potential for heart attack or stroke, increased body temperature. And this is the following 10 facts identified with Flocka users. It makes people move like zombies, jerking and contorting in an unnerving and inhuman way. And then it says when somebody takes too much Flocka, the muscle fibers in the body start to dissolve into the bloodstream. Their bodies start moving uncontrollably. Flocka activates the fight or flight response in a person's brain, often turning them irrationally violent. And at the same time, it causes paranoid delusional fantasies. Meaning, their brains just come up with reasons to start fighting. It has made people kill. Flocka rewires the brain chemistry. They have no control over their thoughts. They can't control their actions, and it seems to be universal that they think someone is chasing them. Flocka is 10 times stronger than cocaine. It can stop the sensation of pain. It created a pandemic of dangerous paranoid streakers. People overdosing on Flocka aren't just violent, they're completely fearless. Flocka gives users super strength. It makes users suicidal. You can order it online, and it hasn't gone away. All right, and that's Flocka, which has a direct core. And we're going to quickly go into Mark chapter 5. This is verses 1 through 20. I don't know if we got to read all of it, but we may have to. We'll see. Because this has a lot, this has a strong correlation to what I was just reading to y'all in regards to this so-called zombie drug or zombie drugs like xylazine, Flocka, crocodile, Trink, so on and so forth. You know, the era of bath salts. And this is again Mark chapter 5. So I'm going to start with verse 1. And they came over into the other side of the sea, into the country of the Gadarenes. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with the unclean spirit, whom had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains. So again, this goes back to some of that zombie drug side effects I was reading about, where they seem to have super strength and just overall invulnerability. Verse 4. Because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken in pieces, neither could any man tame him. And always night and day he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. But when he saw Yeshua afar off, he ran and worshipped him, and cried with a loud voice and said, What have I do with thee, Yeshua, thou son of the Most High God? I adjure thee by God that thou torment me not. For he said unto him, Come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. And he asked him, What is thy name? And he answered, saying, My name is Legion, for we are many. And he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country. Now there was there nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine feeding, and all the devils besought him, saying, Send us into the swine, that we may enter into them. And forthwith Yeshua gave them leave, and the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea. They were about 2,000, and were choked in the sea.